Hello friends, this is a video for September 2024. September is also challenging as were other months this year. You remember that we are in the year of the wood dragon according to the Chinese calendar, and such years are always special. In September, Artemis rules, a female goddess who enjoys hunting, lives in nature, and is quite elusive. This month also corresponds to another mythological goddess. It's Iris, the tireless messenger of the gods, whose symbol is the rainbow. So yes, in September it's time to dream and to walk under the rainbow, but the problem lies in that we see in the title of this video, End of Illusions. So let's see if it's really end of illusions, or we can dream. On the 3rd is new moon in Virgo, on the 17th it's a full moon in Pisces, which is also a partial eclipse of the moon. Sun is until the 32nd in Virgo, then it's in Libra. Mercury is in Leo, in Virgo, and in Libra, and it's coming out of its shadow only on the September 13. Venus is in Libra until the 23rd, then it's in Scorpio. Mars is to the 4th in Gemini, then it's in Cancer, better to say Crab. Jupiter is in Gemini. Saturn is retrograde in Pisces. Uranus is retrograde in Taurus. From the 28th also, Uranus is again in conjunction with the star Algol. Then Neptune is retrograde in Pisces. Pluto is retrograde, and now from the 2nd of this month is going to be again in Capricorn. You probably remember that in August we mentioned the square between Jupiter and Saturn, and at the end of the video I asked some questions as the inspiration for all of you, which can help you to manage their energy. Now this square weakens to reactivate again from the mid-November and reach its second peak on the November 25th of the year 2024. In August, the square was exact at the time of the full moon, and on the feast, which has a name Transfiguration, still celebrated in some Orthodox Christian countries, which was actually the New Year in Old Egypt. And this full moon was even in Aquarius. So it was very extreme full moon, which is speaking about the movement of the masses and changes in the collective consciousness. Certainly some upheavals and things like that we saw in Asia and in different countries of the world. It's a great tension now. The square between Saturn, which is in Pisces, and Jupiter, which is in Gemini, certainly speaks of a change in the health field. And you know what I mean about health. There is a health organization which is in all parliaments and pushing people to do things according to their rules. It's new Gestapo, actually. And the pressure is, of course, in the media. Manipulations from the 2020 and 21 are also coming out to the light more and more, and now this contrast is very strong. This is the square. I think that further you see, it's true. I think that further similar attempts, as were in 2020 and 2021, with this square cannot succeed, but it's a great fight now. In general, we are witnessing a struggle to break through the media blockade, and in the video for August, Valery Pyakin explained how well-known social network owners are under the control. And now Pavel Durov is currently arrested or is undergoing some re-education. We don't know what is happening with him, and he is the owner of the Telegram network. And Valery Pyakin is Russian politicologist, and he speaks in Russian. So I don't know if any of you can watch his channel, but he explained quite a lot. And other journalists and analysts also explained this. So furthermore, during September this year, we are all faced with the reality. And we are led somehow to discover deceptions in our own lives and illusions of our own lives. This is this energy in Pisces opposite to Virgo. September itself opens the further question of the Pisces archetype. In September, we have the first eclipse in Pisces, and with this begins a whole new series of events through this archetype. So, it happens on the 17th, this first eclipse, which is the day of the full moon in Pisces, because lunar eclipse is always at the full moon. However, it is not empty there in Pisces side. Saturn is also in Pisces from 2023 until 2025, and Neptune has been there for many years, from 2011 to 2025. I have special videos about Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, few of them actually. You will find them on YouTube. Soon, the North Node Rahu moves to the sign of Pisces. That will happen on January 12, 2025. But we see the first eclipse in Pisces already in September, on September 17. It is because eclipses and lunar nodes, even if they're connected, they don't enter one side at the same time. It's usually like that. This does not mean that eclipses on the axis Libra Aries are not interesting anymore or that they stop existing. No, actually they are very still significant and will be until the spring of 2025. But we are still, even if they are active, we are slowly preparing now for something new. I will talk about these eclipses on the Pisces Virgo axis. I will prepare also some videos, but not in English, that are online on my web pages. But I will also have some general overview of that what is happening in Pisces. I will record also a video for YouTube. So now we can say that first eclipse in Pisces symbolically marks the inevitable end of current system, the disintegration of national and other borders, even some states. This eclipse further signifies end of dependence on someone or something, and this is they're generally saying. But it makes sense, you will see why. And it also leads the world to abandon any perfectionism and criticism. The latter is necessary for the further spiritual development of people on our planet. And by the way, we know that this is a spiritual war. And now I think that this spiritual war is entering the last phase, last 1 or 2 years more will last in this form as we have it now. When someone is not aware that we are all one, that the world is one, when he does not understand that we live in a holistic system in which every smallest part is connected to the whole, then such person often drinks, uses medicines or drugs, or has some similar addictions to create some sort of trance, which is the simulation of this connection with God or universe. In our world there are many people who are addicted to something, and we can almost say they're not guilty, because it is the part of the program. And part of the same program were jabs that were introduced to this world in the year 2021. So the first eclipse in Pisces means that everything created must fall apart. Because nothing is eternal, only the soul, as theology says, or we can say only consciousness is eternal in the vocabulary of today's spiritual sciences. We say that there will also be a breakup or some changes in the world that will be quite material, like breaking of borders, changes of states, and so on. And in this period, while this eclipse is on Pisces Virgo axis will happen, we will see also the end and the creation of a new world. So one process ends and another begins, and as always. The next eclipse is the next eclipse that is happening this season will take place on the October the 2nd and will be in the sign of Libra. This means that in this series of eclipses from 17th of September until the 2nd of October, as always, we need to stop in a way, you know, to be slower than before, in order to understand what are the messages of the universe. During these 2 weeks, we should not start anything new, but we should accept everything that comes or goes. Just acceptance. And whoever can fast during these 2 weeks, and of course abstain from alcohol. And if one can do so, it will do much good to himself, herself, or to the others. The first lunar eclipse is in Pisces and belongs to the Saros series 118. And last eclipse appeared on the 7th of September 2006. Otherwise, this eclipse will last for another 1,298 years. And this eclipse is already in its decline. I don't have time now to explain, but eclipses last for thousands of years. So we do have time to say something about most important things about this eclipse, but not to explain historical events or whatever was happening when this eclipse was appearing and so on, because I guess many people would not be much interested. But let's say that if you started something around the September 2006, you are now experiencing the fulfillment and the end of that event. You made some decision, now you feel the fulfillment in a way of the decision that you made, or something like that. This is of course the most important for people who have planets in Pisces or in Virgo, especially if they have planets in the last decade of Virgo and Pisces. They will go to some sort of a state of the end, let's say like end of something. They will feel its end, something is ending, and like nothing is starting. But during these 2 years, of course, that they will be able to, as usually all of us, they will be able to create new internal patterns, and they will manifest them later in the reality. Eclipses are connected, as you know, with the spiritual astrology that is developed by people from India, who can really talk about the path of the soul because they have not moved away from the concept of reincarnation. A new distinctly spiritual phase is beginning for all of us now with this eclipse. And with Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, we will have to surrender to some higher power and to change inner patterns. This is a really good transit for inner work. And by doing so, we all will actually create new reality where we live in. A very well-known poet Rumi says, as we think of God, so we think of ourselves. And of course, everybody of us know if it's with love or with fear. It is especially important that with this eclipse we will meet the end of some deceptions and illusions of any kind, especially in the field of healing. You know what I mean when I say healing in the world, an organization who is saying things about healing. So something will change now in a big way. But also in the sphere of digital technology, artificial intelligence, and these technologies that are, let's say, invisible. Big things are happening now in these fields. Of course, it will be extremely huge pressure on people to be cheap, as the Jebs were doing. And in that way to control people digitally through cloud. But of course, as so many people know about this already, it is very, very hard to achieve that, So this is also that square, as we said, between Jupiter and Saturn, saying many things are now saying that this is the final big battle. We also now hear almost every day that system is falling apart. For example, in August, Japan sold US stocks, which is fantastic. Events on the stock market will increasingly get out of control, because this is quite a normal thing, you know, nobody can predict this stock market, as nobody can predict life of a human or what will happen in nature. These are unpredictable things because they belong to complex systems. Complex systems work only in the form of patterns. We can predict the pattern, but what exactly is happening we can never predict. But of course that the stock market was digitally controlled, and if it's digitally controlled, that there are no oscillations. So I guess it's quite good now that we have oscillations. I don't know if they create that artificially also, or that means that this barrier was like broken and finally some natural things are happening. We will see, you know. Gold is also fluctuates now. There are ups and downs in the gold price. And of course, it is very interesting time for finances, as usually in these times of big transitions, many people lose, and that's why many other gain, you know. And it's not possible to predict anything by using the reason or rationally. The only thing that actually can lead us in this time is our intuition, or if you can say, our luck or fortuna, as it was said before. So there are many extremely important events in the world level now. Palestine was invited to BRICS meeting in the autumn and was also invited to be the member of United Nations. Then there are big purges in Russian military cycles, in these high cycles. I guess it can last until the end of this Saturn retrograde period, which means until February, March 2025, but I don't know, I guess this is this symbolism. And also fascists are not calming down, you know, they're getting stronger and stronger. They have more and more demonstrations. They were demonstrating now in Germany a few days ago. I saw some videos, and like policemen could not control them. Imagine that, you know, so they actually led them to do what they want. So fascism was never stronger than it's now, but it can have the end, of course. We'll see that soon, I guess. As of September the 2nd, Pluto is again in Capricorn during this retrograde motion, you know. It will stay shortly in Capricorn, actually until November. And then definitely Pluto leaves this sign and will be in Capricorn again only in 230 years, which means in the year 2255. Sometimes I say that there are no more in this world good old Capricorns. And now if you have planets in Capricorn, you would say, oh, but if there are no Capricorns anymore, so what are we now? Well, actually, I don't know what are you now, but I know that you are something else. And you see, the same symbolism speaks of the end of the current political structures. Those who have governed the world since the third of the 18th century, they're now disappearing. I don't know what will happen with them. They will go to another planet, they will just disappear, they will change for something better maybe, you know, we don't know, but they're not going to rule the world anymore. So people also who have planets in the last degree of Capricorn may still be solving the questions of their existence with the Pluto here, these 2-3 months, but I think most of them are already done with it. Then let's say that since September 28th, Uranus is again in conjunction with the star Algol. This is that star also known as Gorgon Medusa, which we talk about so much, especially in the July video. Furthermore, the conjunction will last through October and will be in decline in November. The very end of September is very critical because of this conjunction and eclipses season. But we have used to these challenging aspects in the last years, so I guess we will not be shocked whatever happen. I just wonder what we will do when all this crazy stuff stops. So at the very end of September, as well as at the beginning of October, we need to be aware as much as possible. By doing so, we will not be afraid to make some important decisions, reversals. We will not be afraid even of losses. Whatever happens, we should actually accept. Uranus permanently changes our value system, especially our relationship to money and possessions. It is especially important for Taurus and Scorpio people. They should be adaptable because money and material values belong to their symbolism, to the symbolism of their sign. And of course, when we talk about changes in value, they are usually material values. They are not all material values, but in our world, unfortunately, mainly we speak about material values. Uranus, in principle, liberates. But in eccentric combinations, such as this one with the star Algol, it can symbolize situations in which a person moves away from loved ones, becomes emotionally disturbed, therefore behaves in a strange way, that leaves others confused, don't know what to do with him or her, or how to understand what is happening, and things like that can be. Of course, something very eccentric is also possible on the world stage. We will see what. In the previous conjunction of Uranus and Algol, Trump got ketchup on his ear and Biden gave up the election. So we'll see if something interesting will happen now. Then this month, Venus is in Libra in one of the best positions. On the 15th of September, Venus forms a trine with Jupiter. And is also, and this is also the best day in September, let's say 15th of the month. This is the period 2 days before full moon, so it's a good period for trade, relationship, consolidation of finances, and like that, taking a move, it's a good period for that. It's also a very good day, 15th of 9th, is good day for weddings and making contracts and agreements. Already on the 22nd of the September, Venus is in square with Pluto, which is just one more aspect that speaks of the crisis of values and relationships and diplomacy in the world. Venus, the planet of senses and pleasure, is especially important to Libra and Taurus people, so for them it's very important to follow activities and aspects of Libra, especially now when Libra is the ruler of the South Node, Ketu, which is in Libra. On the September the 3rd is the new moon in Virgo, which begins a new 6-month period. Around birthdays, everyone is somehow exhausted, so Virgos can expect that too. Especially last decade, Virgos can be a little bit confused because now they are expecting eclipse in the opposite sign. And there is also square of Neptune and Mars at the new moon, which can create a variety of secret situations. There can maybe many secrets Virgos can have. There can be changes related to the possessions and real estate and also personal earnings for Virgos, and this is because of the eclipses on the Libra Aries axis. This is going to be the topic, this real estate, personal earnings, and these kind of things. This is going to be the topic until the spring of 2025. These Virgos have some sort of inflation of personal value, let's say it like that, but that's normal from the time to time. They should not worry too much about that. For Virgos, time is coming where they will make big decisions, and it will be in the next 2 years. For now, they still have time, and I wish them a very happy birthday. For all of you, I can suggest that you should try to find in your horoscope where do you have signs Virgo and Pisces. That area of your life will require special attention for the next 2 years. In that area of life, you will have opportunities to use or realize your spirituality or your healing abilities, or you will be challenged to use digital technology, or you will be influenced by this digital technology in a way things like that can happen. These are very, very fine frequencies that will now appear on this axis. I would also like to warn that there are a lot of retrograde planets now in September. These are big planets behind Saturn towards Pluto, with Pluto itself. And this always means a certain stagnation. It's a time for integration of that what happened before, for questioning, analyzing, but more on the world and social level than in the lives of individuals. And that is actually a prelude to the eclipse period, which is coming now. And the second part of September, let's say, is quite sensitive. Mars is weak this month. From the 4th is in the sign of Crab. This is that Cancer. And this is not a good sign for warriors. On the 30th of September, Mars makes trine with Saturn, but this trine is quite weak. Although it is weak, it can create some situations to calm down the battlefields and can calm down wars that are happening in our world. Although it's weak, it can be useful for water signs to initiate some action. These are Scorpios, Crabs, and Pisces. This month, Mercury is direct from the 13th, coming out of its shadow. I mean, it's already direct, but now it's from the 13th coming out of its shadow, and will bring possibility to carry out our daily tasks with the great ease. With the exception of the 18th of September, when Mercury creates the opposition to the planet Saturn. Mercury in Virgo helps students, but can bring overly critical teachers, for example. If it's integrated in a static way, Mercury in Virgo criticizes others and brings constant dissatisfaction. However, if it is integrated in a dynamic way, Mercury in a strong position gives the possibility to work professionally, but also to be tolerant. This is the way how to dynamically integrate Mercury in a strong position. And this is what I wish to you all. And that's all for now. At the end of the video, I want to say that I'm going to have many lectures, which will be public lectures in the autumn this year. Some that are regularly in Prague, but some extra meetings will be in Prague because now I'm going to publish in Czech language my new, not a book, but the collection of works, or not of works, of articles, which I will present in Prague, also in Brno. Then I will have lecture in Belgrade. So if you are in any of those cities in the autumn, write to me and I can make you for your reservation for any of those lectures that you will be possibly interested in. Of course, you can order through my web pages, symbolicthinking.net, consultations that I offer there from astropsychology, spiritual astrology, or consultations based on Feng Shui or on the method that has a name, the change of the code, the change of perception, where we work with some inner techniques on that to understand ourselves and to change our inner patterns. If you like the video, like it, sign up for my channel, and thank you very, very much for that in advance. I wish you all to remove illusions and to live happily without them. And see you soon.